There is a mass hypnotic trance that is encapsulating all of people's perspectives into these smaller and smaller containers within themselves, which predictably create all the problems which we have today. You scroll through Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get your news, and all it is just confusion and hysteria and sensationalism and stuff that doesn't even matter. You know, you get like this right wing politician writing this super mega thread about how they're gonna whatever and pass this new law. Or you get this person on the left saying they're countering that and saying that they're a bigot because and all these personal attacks. And as a high IQ person, as an exceptionally high IQ person, not high IQ in the sense that I can memorize some niche math problem or understand 1600s history and recall some obscure fact which doesn't matter. I'm talking high IQ in the sense that you put me in a room and I can see all angles of it. I can see how things are laid out, situational awareness, and just see deeply into how things are operating. Any situation, put me anywhere, I will see this. When you're this way, so many of the problems that we experience today are dumb. Not only are they dumb, they're unnecessary, they're inefficient, and it actually makes me question the structure of the gods which created this realm and what is their real intentions behind this all. Because out of all the past infinite creation that we could possibly have at our hands, why choose this configuration of energy right now? Why choose this timeline? A lot of ways, like I feel like my life, I just got dropped off here. Like, oops, we forgot. Oh, he'll live a life down there. It's fine. Oh, we'll pick him up next time. Okay, whatever. We'll put him on the right spot. Like that literally feels like my life sometimes. I don't belong here. It doesn't make sense why I'm here. Just being honest, 99% of the problems that we have in the world today can be solved like in 3 days. In 3 days, dude. I'm telling you, man, it's not difficult to see this stuff. It's so simple. The thing is, back to the hypnotic trance, people, they don't want the solution. That's another thing I recognized about this world. People fall in love with the confusion because it makes them feel alive in a way which real life doesn't offer you those same sensations. That's something I don't really understand, but it appears to be a fact of this world. When people are confused and they're drama infused, they become more real to themselves in a way which only they can understand and process. But to those of us who can see, it looks completely unnecessary and dumb, inefficient. And it's like, why are you this way? And that's what it all is. In today's world, we listen to people who have the loudest voice. That's the actual biggest problem. The people who genuinely should be listened to, we don't uphold their voices and put it into the public view and say, hey, we should listen to them because they have the solution. They have a very unique perspective which we could, learn from. No, that's not how this place works. This place rewards stupidity. It rewards dumb content. It rewards acting in ways in which you're like psychosomatically possessed by literal demons. This world is architected in such a way where it doesn't incentivize you at all to go down the path of growing in any meaningful way. And this is something that I've had to just learn over time. This is something that I've just known, to be honest with you. I've known this, but I've had to relearn how deeply this is true. See, growing up, my whole life it felt like manipulation. And I think that this is kind of the theme that everyone's going through right now. We just all feel like we're kind of just being manipulated. But we're almost not able to talk about how we're being manipulated because the manipulator will then come in for another beating. And so if we talk about it, we know it will be bad the next time. That's how it feels in this world today. It feels like we're kind of walking on eggshells, waiting for the next attack. That's how it feels. And that's very reminiscent of how I felt growing up. I always felt that at every angle in which I found myself, I was always at either of the extremes. And in a way, I always thought that my extremes were right. I thought that my extremes were actually, this is the perspective. This is how this thing is working out. But then life itself would swoop me back to the other way, and I would have to figure out this end of the spectrum, and I have to figure out this end of the spectrum. And life itself just toggled me back and forth between all these extremes in all different directions and angles, till I found myself somewhere around the middle where I rest, but always kind of rotating to either side. And it's only my ability to recognize manipulation that I think I'm able to grow beyond it, because manipulation at the highest level is really present in there to keep you detracting in your progress and actually reversing your journey. That's like the whole point of manipulation, is so that you don't grow. You don't become what the manipulators want you to become. And so this is what I recognize about life, about my personal life. And this is what I'm starting to recognize about the collective world stage. Reality itself is highly manipulative at the most deepest and fundamental levels that even on your spiritual journey you will come to recognize. I see a lot of this talk about belief systems. You got to learn how to like alter your belief systems and change your belief systems. The problem with that for me was always a lot of my belief systems that I've had, and I think that I still have. Sometimes I gaslight myself into believing that I need to fix my belief systems because my belief systems aren't correct, or they're out of some, weird misconfiguration of energy, and so I need to change my belief systems or whatever. But a lot of times my belief systems continue to prove to be true. And so again, it kind of gaslights you to think, well, maybe it becomes true because you have a belief system about, because that's what actually makes it happen and so on. But you get to a certain point where you just start to observe the actual patterns of the world. You just observe things for how it's actually working. And it becomes repeatable. It becomes like, oh, that's actually how that happens. It has nothing to do with your belief systems. It has nothing to do with your beliefs are creating your reality. No, you're just observing the world. And when I say that life has had to toss me to these different extreme ends, it's had to basically pull out from within me this ability to curate my world in such a way where I can actually process it from all angles so that I can rest within the center. And a lot of the beliefs that I have now about the world, about myself, about just how things work, they're all true. And that's the craziest part about it. Because the moment you get to this point where there aren't really any more limiting beliefs to work on, it's just like all my beliefs are true because they're just actual observations of how the world works, it almost feels like there's no more sense to growth anymore. And I'm serious about that. Because, like, how can I grow more? And this makes me think about the limitations of the spiritual journey in a way. Every moment, we're always looking for new ways to grow, new ways to find ourselves, new ways to explore the depths of our internal space so that we can transmute some higher dimensional frequency and turn into some like cyborg that can access the true intelligence of all things and all universes and whatever. I get it. I do that stuff all the time. But I'm just being honest right now. The more I do those things, the less satisfying it is. Because that world, that reality, that hyper dimensional reality of this utopia vision for the world, it doesn't seem like it's going to become true. It seems like the cycle of the earth in which we're in now. It just seems like we're in the cycle where everything's going to fall apart. Everything is just going to fall apart and slowly get destroyed. And in my opinion, I almost think that it's better this way. I genuinely think that it's better that it gets destroyed than if it just starts getting better. Because what I've recognized about my journey, my own personal evolution of my own life, I've had to destroy myself a lot of times to come out better. And sometimes you destroy yourself so much that you don't come out better. You come out worse. And then you have to deal with that condition to then make yourself better again. So, out of destruction, out of literal pain, and stuff going badly, you'll find a way to make it better. And you either do that or you don't. And so life, in a way, rewards those that do. And those that do almost have a sense and a quality to them which makes sense that they would have done that anyway because that's just their nature. And so life has this nature to it which pulls life in certain ways which are also predetermined. There's no possible parallel dimensional reality in which I don't win and become my better self. It doesn't exist. And because I knew this as a young person, it facilitated me creating it sooner. So perhaps it was the belief, but also it just felt intrinsically true. And that's what I mean about manipulation. I see a lot of people, they're focused on their belief systems. You have limiting belief systems. Oh, you have this, you have that you need to heal about yourself. I'd say yes, you do. There is a certain point where you have all these things, you have all these problems, you got to figure out your belief systems are creating your reality and whatever. But what about when you get to the point where you're just actually observing uncomfortable truths about the world in which you then gaslight yourself to believe that they're limiting beliefs that you need to change to distract you from actually just observing the world? There's a point in your journey where you actually just have to see reality for exactly how it is now. Not in the sense of your spiritualized hyper utopia, but just actually see the world for how it is right now. And sure, a lot of it's beautiful. A lot of it's like, wow. But also a lot of it's like, whoa, dude, you know? So understand the difference between your beliefs that create your reality and making quality observations which have been neatly refined and curated your perspective in which you can even do that in the first place. That's a whole other thing. And I would actually say that a lot of people are actually at that position rather than the ones that which they need to constantly refine their belief systems. A lot of people are actually at the position where they already know so many things, but they convince themselves that they don't because they gaslight themselves into thinking they need to heal through every aspect of things which they deem uncomfortable.